Hey students, it's Mr. Eng. I wanted to give you one last chance to draw with me before winter break. So grab a piece of paper, grab a pencil, and we're gonna draw a snowman. All right, I know you guys have the basic concept down, right? Stacking our circles when we're drawing our snowman, but we're also gonna give it a little bit of depth, value. We're gonna make it look a little bit three-dimensional by adding some shading, okay? But the first thing we're gonna do is draw those three circle shapes. Try to make them lighter so that if they're a little lopsided, like, oh, that's a little lopsided, I can take my pencil and I can redraw that, and the part that is off that I don't want to keep, I can erase that a little bit easier, right? But once again, you know, snowman's kind of an organic shape. Circles are not always perfect, right? I'm gonna stack another round circly shape on top for the midsection of our snowman. Maybe not as big as the bottom. And then let's put one more on top for the head. There we go. And I just kind of sketch my lines lightly so that I can erase areas like where it's overlapping. And if you need to, you can definitely pause, rewind, rewatch parts of this video, however you need to, as many times as you need to. Okay, so now I've got my snowman. I'm gonna illustrate. I'm gonna have some, just a horizon line or some ground. Okay. Before we add details on, I want to talk about shading our spheres or shading our round shapes. If we imagine the sun is coming from this angle, our light source is coming from this angle, the side the sun is shining on is going to be brighter, right? And then the side with shadow is the other side, right? Because this is the sun's lighting up this side of the shape and causing the shadow to be on this side of the shape. And the shadow is not just a straight line across, the shadow is curved with the curve of the spheres, okay? So let's start on the big one first. Take your pencil, kind of use the side like we've been practicing, and start by creating that medium to light gray. Most of that light gray. So take your pencil, just barely rub the edge. And remember, we're trying to shade in a curve. We're coloring our shading in a curved shape. So we're gonna kind of go around like this. Just very gently kind of curve around like this to create our shadow on our snowman, okay? All right. And then we want it to be lighter, closer to the middle, and darker, closer to the edge. So I'll go over just lightly shading around the edge one more time, just a little bit. There we go. And then we'll do that in the middle. And then what we can do is, I'll show you about the blending too. All right, so once again, we won't take too much. Just gently shade our snowman. And once again, I'll make it a little bit darker, closer to the edge, and I can take my eraser later if I need to and lighten it up just a little bit. But I'm gonna very light, I'm not even barely touching it. Paper, and then I'll do one more up here. Just very gently shading it. Okay, now, that might be a little bit too much, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take my finger, kind of smooth, you know, sometimes you see people when they're drawing, they'll blend with a finger or with a blending stump. That kind of helps smooth it out. You can see how that's kind of blended some of that shadow and smoothed it out a little bit and made it look like it's transitioning a little bit more smooth or more even from light to dark. Okay, and then if I need to, I can take my eraser and don't just push really hard, just lightly lighten up some areas if you need to. In the middle, if those areas seem too dark and the shape seems too straight and it needs to be rounded out a little bit more. Okay, there we go. And then we're gonna add a cast shadow. Cast shadow is that shadow that falls on the surface of the ground or the table, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just gently take the side of my pencil, shade just a little bit, cast shadow right here. So it looks like the snowman's casting a shadow on the ground. Just gonna kind of do something like that, not too far. Then I'll blend that too with my finger. There we go. All right. Okay, because once again, the difference between a sphere and a circle is that sphere is three-dimensional, right? And we want to illustrate that, or we want to suggest that with our shading or our shadow. Okay, now we can add, if you want to add your features like your arms, your snowman, your stick arms, and you can kind of customize it however you'd like to. You don't have to copy me exactly. When I think about blending that in and kind of making it look natural. The way I've drawn this, it doesn't necessarily have to. And then we'll kind of add just a touch of shadow, just a touch of shadow right under there to make the arm look more like it fits more. And we'll put our face on our snowman here. And triangle-y, pointy shape for our nose, and maybe we're shading this side of the nose just a little bit to make it look like that also blends, because when you have something attached to it, that's also going to have shadow too, right? Some shading, some shadow underneath our edges. We're going to darken this area where these sections fit together, just to give it a little bit more shadow under the edges there. That's my son Toby. He's waking up from his nap. All right. So there you go. If you want to add some other details like a hat or like some snow or a scarf, you absolutely can do that. The main thing that I want you to focus on though is seeing if you can get that shadow or shading effect. Now, if you finish your snowman and you would want to share it with me, you can use your device to take a picture of your snowman and send it to me through Schoology or send it to me through my email. I would love to see what you created. I hope you guys have a safe and happy and wonderful winter break, and I will see you in January.